Hi, I'm Sylvia and welcome to my channel. Today I'm speaking about Saturn in the 7th house. I know you have probably seen a lot of articles on the internet and even astrologers speaking about how Saturn in the 7th house will bring the native a lot of unfulfillment or unhappiness in their relationships. They also say that Saturn in the 7th house will bring the native a lot of loneliness, or they will marry very late, or they will never marry, and how they need to pay their karma in their relationships. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't some truth in this, but this is only a part of the interpretation of Saturn in the 7th house. And imagine that you are new to astrology, you are learning astrology, and your teacher, or you just find it on the internet, how Saturn is all gloom and doom and how unhappy you will be in your love life, in your relationships, and that's it. Basically, your life is over. I mean, it feels like your life is over, and I'm saying this because I have Saturn in the 7th house and I did experience that. And I want to say that it took me a long time to really understand Saturn. And I have started to understand it better when I read an article on this in this book. So this book is called Saturn, A New Look at an Old Devil by Liz Green. And as the time passed by, I have realized more and more how accurate this article really is. And I'm not saying that Saturn, the 7th house, is not harsh. It can be harsh, it can be tough, especially in your adolescence and especially in your 20s, but it does get better with age. I can guarantee you this from my personal experience. But I really want to speak about the root cause and not so much on the outcome of Saturn in the 7th house. And I'm going to start reading a few quotes from this book. And the first one is this: when Saturn is in the 7th house, the opportunity for an inner integration or balancing of opposites is offered, for it is unlikely that the individual will find the qualities he seeks happily expressed by a partner. It is more likely that he will attract to himself situations which involve some degree of pain, isolation, rejection, and disappointment until he begins to reorient himself towards an inner search. So this is really important. Inner search, introspection. Once again, it is wise to assume some responsibility where Saturn is concerned for the awareness of these inner needs, and the honest sharing of them is very likely a prerequisite for happy and productive union when Saturn is found in the 7th house. Although it may at first seem difficult to understand why an individual would choose, consciously or unconsciously, a partner who will hurt, disappoint, or limit him, it is not so difficult to understand that a man may be at war with himself and to be compelled by unconscious motives of which he is unaware. His choice of a partner is often a reflection of this war. The consistent thread which runs through the many expressions of Saturn in the 7th house seems to be, and now this is where it gets really important and interesting, so seems to be successful avoidance of a relationship which might involve real union on all levels instead of merely the physical or emotional. The danger of dependency or vulnerability are carefully sidestepped by Saturn's action, although the man may be unaware that he is doing this on a conscious level. Seen from the viewpoint of the detached observer, relationships formed with a Saturnian influence are often safe in that the partner is himself dependent, weak, needful, and unable to form any kind of threat or support to the individual. The partner may be cold or unfaithful or incapable of establishing a meaningful relationship himself. And again, this is also very important. This is a neat mechanism for avoiding the effort and responsibility for a fully conscious union while having a scapegoat on whom the failure of the union may be blamed. He is basically the native who has Saturn in the seventh house. He is frightened of being alone, yet he is equally frightened that he will be hurt. So he tries to follow both these impulses and establishes relationships into which his inner self does not enter. So as you can see, the problem with Saturn in the seventh house is that most people who have it are actually afraid to commit, especially emotionally, on a very deep level with someone else. And they are afraid to be vulnerable in love. They are afraid to open up to love. They are afraid to open up emotionally to a partner and to get involved in a relationship on the most profound level. And like I said, this is because they are afraid. I don't know whether you know or not, but Saturn also rules over fears, karmic fears. So, no one is naturally born being afraid of something. You learn about those fears. Something happened to you that has created or made you be fearful. So people who have Saturn in the seventh house, they're afraid of relationships, but this is because something in their past, whether it's their past in this lifetime, for example, in their childhood, or their past in their past lives, something has happened. Maybe they have been hurt, they have been rejected, they have felt unloved, or they have been humiliated, cheated on. I don't know, something traumatic has happened to them, and they don't trust so much in love anymore, or they don't trust partners anymore. They're afraid because they will get hurt again. But you see, with Saturn in the seventh house, like with all the other planets which are in the seventh house, when someone is not aware of these of the energies of the planet or planets, they tend to project those energies onto someone else. So basically, Saturn in the seventh house means indeed that the native avoids getting involved, especially emotionally, in a relationship. And like I said before, this is because they are scared. Although they might not be fully aware of this. So like the article says, if you have Saturn in the seventh house, the first thing you need to do is to practice introspection, to search deep within you. What do you truly feel? What you truly think? What you truly want? What your expectations are when it comes to love and relationships? And most probably, those expectations are negative. So with Saturn, when Saturn is in a house, in our birth chart, we need to take responsibility in that area. And in this case, it's our relationships and our life. So Saturn in the seventh house says you need to take responsibility for your life, for your actions, for what you truly want. And how can you take responsibility for your relationships? First of all, to look within yourself and see why you choose consciously, but most probably unconsciously, partners who are not right for you. Probably because deep down you are afraid of fully opening up to love, and that's why you choose partners who are not right for you, so you can avoid truly getting involved emotionally in a relationship. And it can also speak about the fact that if you want to change your relationships, or you're just lonely, you're the kind of person who doesn't have many relationships, you can have a lot of blockages in forming in a relationship. Or you may have relationships, but they are not long lasting, or they're not fulfilling. And it seems like there's always a blockage in your relationships. But you have to realize that those blockages, those external blockages, are a reflection of your inner blockages. Because you yourself, you are sabotaging yourself from having a meaningful relationship. So, like I said before, you need introspection, you need to be honest with yourself, and you need to work on yourself. Learn to be less skeptical in love. Learn to be a bit more vulnerable in love. And I know that usually the fears that Saturn has is all about not being good enough, being rejected, feeling unloved, feeling unwanted, feeling like you will end up with cold people or a cold partner who will hurt you, who will be maybe indifferent to you. Or you just deep down you feel like if someone gets too close to you and sees the real you, if you show them who you truly are, your weaknesses, your strength, your vulnerability, they will reject you. They won't like you. So you need to learn how to be, or to show more vulnerability. This is what Saturn in the seventh house is all about. Now, imagine that you already have these fears and you're starting to learn astrology, and you are told that, wow, Saturn in the seventh house means that you will be unhappy, or you will end up, or you will die alone, unmarried. It doesn't make things better, it makes things worse. And it doesn't help you. They're not helpful at all. Basically, it's like they confirm what somewhere in your subconscious you always knew, like, and that's, I won't be happy in love, or I will get hurt, or I will suffer, and things like that. So this is how you can change the outcome of Saturn in the seventh house. Only when you get to know your true self, when you learn, and I know it's easy, it's very easy to say, but it's more difficult to do. But you have to work on yourself, first of all. Because this is what Saturn says. Take responsibility for your life, for your actions, for your feelings, for your thoughts. This is what it talks about. Instead of sabotaging yourself, using finding partners or unconsciously choosing partners who are not right for you in some way or form or shape. So this is why I really wanted to make this video, because I think that Saturn in the 7th house, I wouldn't say that most astrologers interpret it in the wrong way, but it's very incomplete, that's for sure. And I think this is the key, the root cause. Understanding the root cause and fixing the root cause, so you can have a different outcome with Saturn in the 7th house. Because the good part of Saturn in the 7th house is that you can find a partner who you can rely on, who can be committed to you, who can be there for you whenever you need him, when you go through hardship. Someone you can truly rely on. Someone who can take care of you. It doesn't always have to be bad. But yes, when we speak about Saturn, we always speak about work, whether that's self-work or, I don't know, finding new skills depending on where Saturn is in your birth chart. But there's always some work that you need to do with Saturn. There's always some responsibility you have to take. And I really hope this was very helpful for you, especially if you have Saturn in the 7th house like me. And the most important message is that there is hope. It's not all gloom and doom. That's for sure. Thank you very much. And if you like my video, if you like my content, and you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.